Hello, we come to the end of the week, and we are at 1 John 3:6. See if you can translate it. And how did you do? So here is my translation. Everyone who remains in him, that's a little difficult. We'll talk about that in a second. Everyone who remains in him does not sin, or don't be sinning, is not sinning. It's just not, that doesn't make any sense. You're in him. You can't be sinning. Everyone who sins has not seen him, nor has known him. Isn't that interesting? Now, a lot of times people know 1 John 1:8. If we say we do not have sin, we deceive ourselves, and so forth. But that verse, 1 John 1:8, is used to basically say, yeah, we can't help but sin every day in word, thought, and deed. That is not the theology of John. That is not the theology of 1 John. And if you followed this video at all, that is a misinterpretation of 1 John 1:8. 1 John 8 doesn't say if we say we don't sin. That's not what it says. It says if we say we don't have sin, which relates to verse 1:10. If we say we have not sinned in the past, and that we therefore have need of cleansing in the present, we deceive ourselves. We make God a liar. So the having is about the consequence of past sin. It's not about the doing of sin. And that is going to be very clear in the next three verses we do in 1 John. Verse 6 makes it very clear that if you are in God, sin will not typify your life. I know this goes against the grain of pop Christian teaching and of other Christian traditions, not mine, but it's very clear here that sin does not, it's not even a must not, sin does not typify a Christian's life because you are remaining in him. And everyone who sins has not seen him and has not known him, because remember yesterday's verse, when we see him, we become like he is, and he is holy. Well, let's dig into this translation just a little bit more. So this construction here, the in him remaining one, it's kind of fun, but you have to get used to it. On the one hand, we have the ho menon, the remaining. We've seen a lot of that. The one who loves, the one who says. This is the one who remains. This is a participle, menon, nominative, masculine, singular participle. Everyone who in him remains, everybody who remains in him. The in him is serving like an adjective, actually. So you might have the good man. This is the in him remaining man, so to speak. So it's substantive. If you remember, we've seen lots of these. It's adjectival because it has the article on it. Now it's separated. If you could put parentheses around en alto, but it's the remaining in him one, the one who remains in him, does not sin, and this is present tense. So I put doesn't be sinning, don't be sinning. Everybody remains in him. Don't be sinning. Present tense implies continuous action. Now, so this is not a simple statement. It's not a statement, it won't happen. That's not what it's saying either. That would be the opposite extreme. It's saying that it is not a characteristic feature. The one who remains in him is not. I mean, I sometimes have said, if you had two portraits, picture number one and picture number two, the frame of picture number one says sins a lot, and you have frame number two says doesn't sin. Which would be the place where the Christian's picture would go? Well, according to 1 John, the Christian's picture goes with doesn't sin, because that's more typical. That's what's more typical of a Christian's life than sins a lot. Well, okay, and again, you have to remember we're talking about intentional kinds of things. We're not talking about, oops, I did it again. That's not what we're talking about again. We're not talking about, oh, I accidentally ran over, 3 widows. That's not how it works. It's about intentional sin. And we'll get more to sin. Chapter 5, when we get there in August, he talks about a sin to death and a sin not to death. Woo, what is that about? Well, we'll have to wait till we get there. So everyone who sins, Again, same construction. John uses this construction over and over again. The sinning one, the sinning man. This is a present participle. Everyone who sins, or everyone who is sinning, has not seen him, nor has known him. Perfect tenses. Again, the idea that we saw him in the past and it's stuck with us. We knew him in the past and we know the result has stayed with us. Because, and again, I'm not 100% sure how this works in John's theology or in the details, but the idea is basically that once you've had that encounter with God, you're changed. You're a changed person because you've seen him. Sandy Patty and Larnell Harris had a song, I think it was in the 80s, I've Just Seen Jesus. I enjoyed the song very much. Maybe you're not an 80s person. But the idea is Mary, I think Mary Magdalene, out of John 20, sees the risen Lord and, she's changed. Well, that's John's theology. But now to the grammar. So what is this again? We've seen it over and over again. This is a participle. Participle has the article. That means it is adjectival. It is substantive because there's no noun there. So the one in him remaining, the one who remains in him. If Ken's rule, if it has the article, use who or that. Okay? Hamartane is a present active indicative third singular from hamartano, but no big deal there. Heorakamen. The kappa, I'm wondering if these kappas, I'm thinking, are these perfect tense? A nu with an epsilon in front of it is almost always a movable nu. Throw it away. It's completely meaningless, just for sounds. Epsilon is a very common third-person singular, past tense ending, although the perfect tense isn't technically a past tense because it continues into the present. It uses those endings. So this is a perfect active indicative, third singular from horao. You can see horao hiding in the middle there. This is irregular. It's just one you have to memorize. It's all we have of the perfect reduplication for this particular one. But we do have a kappa. This is another weird one. Also perfect active indicative third singular from gnosko. I gno this one. See the gno in the middle there? So there's the perfect forms. Although they're not perfect forms, they're irregular. It's a paradox. It's a perfect, but it's not perfect. Okay, finally we have the pronunciation part of our trek for the end of the week. See if you can pause the recording if you have doubts about your pronunciation. Here we go. Pas, ho, en, auto, menon, uk, hamartane, pas, ho, hamartanon, uk, heoraken, auton, uda, egnoken, auton. So trying to read it at somewhat normal pace. Paso en auto menon, uk hamartane. Pasho hamartanon, uk heorakamen auton, uda egnoken auton. Okay, there you have it. And we've finished yet another week in our trek through 1 John in Greek.